This is CBC Here and Now.
Our regulations say don't build. It's not sustainable.
The new location for the Waterford Hospital, smack in the middle of a floodplain.
And it's one that's flooded again and again. Flooding that goes back decades. How is the province going to deal with all of the water? Well, good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Debbie Cooper. Well, the province is defending a decision to build a new mental health and addictions hospital in a floodplain.
City of St. John says the site chosen for the facility to replace the Waterford Hospital breaches the regulations, and yet top provincial officials say they are going ahead anyway. Here and Now's Mark Quinn reports.
St. John's Deputy Mayor Sheila O'Leary has campaigned for better health care. She agrees the crumbling Waterford Hospital must be replaced. She even agrees it's a good idea to have the new facility near the Health Sciences Centre. But she says the province's current plan to build a new mental health and addictions hospital here has one big flaw.
The problem here is that it's the infrastructure. It's right in the city's floodplain.
This map on the City of St. John's website outlines where the floodplain is. And this is where the province plans to build the new hospital, here just south of Warner's Road.
It does contravene our existing regulations for the floodplain. This particular area right here is all part of the city's floodplain. So our regulations say don't build. It's not sustainable.
But O'Leary says the province doesn't have to follow municipal regulations. No problem now when the river and small pond behind me are well contained. But that can change dramatically. It looked like this when Hurricane Igor hit in 2010, and that wasn't a once-in-a-100-year event. Here's the same area in 1986. Different cars, same flooding. And we can get swamped at any time of year. Here's the same scene just 2 weeks ago, when a winter storm blasted the city with snow and rain. But the Minister of Transportation and Works says no worries. He says this problem can be managed. All this water will be kept out with a barrier, also called a berm.
We've been able to mitigate any flood issues there with this construction of a berm, and actually we feel very comfortable that once the new berm is designed and put in place, our engineers are comfortable that we will actually provide the health science in a safer situation than it would find itself in today.
Crocker says if everything goes as planned, clearing the site for the new hospital will begin later this year, and construction will begin in earnest in 2020. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, it feels nice to be the youngest again. In skating, I've slowly become the oldest.
The oldest in skating becomes the youngest person to receive the province's highest honor. She's had a highway named after her, an arena, a road, and she's just 23 years old. Today at Government House, Olympian Caitlin Osmond joined 9 others in being named to the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. Here Now's Carolyn Stokes was at today's ceremony. Carolyn.
Well, Debbie, Caitlin Osmond was all smiles today, as usual, and you heard her joking there about becoming a senior in the world of figure skating at the age of 23. She was among 10 people today to receive the province's highest honor.
To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Caitlin Osmond.
Here she is accepting her medal from Lieutenant Governor Judy Foote, and she certainly knows how it feels to wear a medal. Osmond is being recognized for representing this province on the international stage as a 2-time Olympic medalist. She was also the 2018 World Champion, a title that no other Canadian female figure skater had won in 45 years. Now, Osmond is taking a break from competing this year, and today she talked about deciding what's next.
That's still a big question mark in my own brain. The idea of coming back to competing is definitely exciting, but also the idea of continuing the shows that I've been doing this year. I've been doing a lot of touring. I'm heading to Switzerland here shortly for a brand new tour that I've never been able to participate in before. And also, I'm excited to go to school eventually. So there's a lot of different things up in the air right now, and just seeing which one I'm going to grab. University is definitely my future. I'm hoping to get into broadcasting, as funny as that is. So let's see what's going to happen. To be able to commentate for skating, or commentate at the Olympics, or just be behind the scenes at the National Championships a couple weeks ago, I was having a lot of fun volunteering with a lot of the other media people. And just seeing that side of things. I've always been on the talking side, but being able to see how it actually all works, all the behind the scenes of what they do, it's really exciting.
So Osmond really seems to be exploring all of her options right now and enjoying life without the pressure of hardcore competing and training every day.
So Carolyn, Caitlin wasn't the only prominent person to receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador today.
That's right, Debbie. There were 9 other recipients. There were humanitarians, there were volunteers, there were activists, and some of the names you'll likely recognize. Artist Christopher Pratt was honored for being one of the most renowned artists this province has ever produced. He was described as a giant in the world of art, and whose work has been exhibited extensively nationally and internationally. He also designed the provincial flag in 1980. And Richard Cashin was recognized for his public service contributions that span back to the 1960s when he was elected MP for St. John's West. He also has been a longtime advocate for the fishing industry and was president of the Fish, Food and Allied Workers Union. Now, some of the other names aren't quite as prominent, but include a diverse range of people who have done their part to help others in this province, from distinguished academics to hospital volunteers, to school teachers, to those who fund scholarships for students.
I've been thinking that I've been recognized and awarded for something I really enjoy doing. So every time I meet someone, whether it's a young person, an adult, and they share with me some challenges they're facing, I seem to right away start thinking, okay, how can I help out?
I guess, you know, when people see the contribution that you give, I don't look for recognition, but you know, when you get it, it's a good feeling.
I've had a wonderful life doing all the things that I love, and my biggest thing is being with children, and I still get to do that for 5 hours a day because I volunteer at the primary school, and what I get back from those children, money can't buy.
And those 10 recipients, 5 men and 5 women, well, they were chosen from 99 nominations this year, so they landed in a pretty exclusive club. And here's a fun fact I learned today, that the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador medal, well, that's made of labradorite, which means that no two are exactly alike. Ashley?
Thanks, Carolyn. Well, you can see from that shot, it's an absolutely beautiful but chilly night out there right now. If you take a look at the weather on the way, it looks like it'll stay quiet through the night right across the province, up through the Labrador coast where it's quite windy. Things will eventually ease by morning, but then snow will start to move in. We'll see that move in late day tomorrow and continue through the day on Thursday with some pretty significant accumulations with that. And then a wintry mix on the way for Newfoundland. We're going to see some snow, ice pellets, potentially some freezing rain, and then it does look like it should be rain for parts of the province as well, but I'll have all those details in your full forecast when I come back. Anthony?
People of all faiths will gather at a mosque in St. John's tonight to commemorate a grim anniversary. 2 years ago, 6 people were murdered and 19 more were injured when a gunman opened fire on worshippers at a mosque in Quebec. In St. John's, tonight's ceremony will be a show of community support and a rejection of racism and religious intolerance. Here now, Zach Gowdy spoke with the president of this province's Muslim Association.
2 years ago, you know, this very tragic massacre which happened in Quebec, it never happened in the history of Canada, most recent history of Canada, where, you know, in a place of worship, that many people were massacred. So basically, today's remembrance is to not only remember those who died, but also those who are surviving with this huge trauma that we are with them.
But I'm wondering if you feel like the shooting 2 years ago has made lasting changes for people in the Muslim community in Canada and here in St. John's in particular, for better or worse?
Absolutely. I mean, it has made a lasting impact, and we have changed, in fact, all these mosques and Islamic centers have changed their policies, who's coming in and how we conduct our, prayers and do things here. Yes, and that has also impacted in a positive way that we are making an extra effort to let the community, let the children know that, this is unacceptable, and we have to live together, and that's what we are trying to teach our, community at large and students and schools, and definitely it has made a huge impact.
So, Mr. Prasada, tell me about who's going to be coming to the event tonight.
So, yeah, I mean, we have all everything is set for tonight, 7 p.m. There will be religious groups coming, represented by all the religion in Newfoundland, and there will be politicians. There will be RCMP and RNC, and of course, we expect anybody who wants to come and join. It's going to be a very short, meeting, and they will express their thoughts, and in the end there will be a short prayer for the people who died and people who are dealing with the injuries and everything, and that's all.
So this is not just for members of the local Islamic community, but for anybody who wants to come out and pay respects.
Yes, it's open to everybody.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much.
In Toronto now, Bruce McArthur has entered a guilty plea to 8 counts of first-degree murder.
I did meet 2 of them, and if I'm haunted by that, yes, I am haunted by that.
That's the owner of the home where the remains of Bruce McArthur's victims were found. The self-employed landscaper was arrested last year after years of speculation within Toronto's gay village that several missing persons cases were connected. He admitted to killing and dismembering the 8 men, then buried the bodies in large flower planters and a nearby ravine. His sentencing hearing is scheduled for next Monday, February 4th. A lawyer for the Crown shared few details, saying the murders were planned.
The Crown is pleased that there are 29 guilty pleas that have been entered before the court. We're pleased that this matter is moving forward toward the sentencing stage.
There's a sense of relief, but there's also confusion and question as to why and when and what happened.
We, myself and the investigative team, are pleased that Mr. McArthur has pled guilty today, sparing the community and those who knew the victims a lengthy trial.
So it's kind of shocking and scary all at the same time, but I think there's just more information to come, and I'm hoping that folks in the community and their families are seeking the supports that they necessarily need to get through this.
We unfortunately can never bring these men back, but I'm hoping we can start bringing some closure to the families and the communities.
Well, back in this province now, there's a new community centre being built in Torbay, and in an unusual move, the town has started a fundraising campaign hoping that people and businesses will donate money to help pay for the building. Here now, Cease Hare reports.
As you can see behind me, the new building is already up. The work started about a year ago. The problem now is that they need money to finish the inside. The town is asking for help to complete this $8.9 million community center. More specifically, it's seeking donations of $1.5 million and will match that. Demand for space, community space, is high. Outside of Jack Byrne Arena, there's nowhere to host more than 100 people. In all, 27 service groups put demand on municipal space, and then there are the town's own recreational programs. The new building will house, among other things, a gymnasium, a walking track, offices, and space, a central location for all ages.
Seniors are a very big focus, and they want to have a place where they can do their crafts and have their 50-plus club meetings and have a walking track and some type of sports for seniors.
Mayor Scott admits it's not normal for a town to go public looking for donations for a major capital works project, but the main goal, he says, is to reduce the burden on Torbay taxpayers.
He says people can go online and make a donation too. Primarily, he adds, though, they hope that the bulk of the support for this campaign will come from businesses that employ residents of Torbay.
We are essentially, I hate to say it, the cliche of a bedroom community, but most people in our municipality work in St. John's, and the businesses there that our people work for benefit from having healthy, vibrant employees that are going to be able to make their business successful. So hopefully they'll see the benefit to contribute to our campaign.
The plan is to be in the new community center by this summer. Cease here, CBC News, St. John's.
A federal cabinet minister is in the province where earlier today she announced millions of dollars to give disadvantaged youth a helping hand. Patty Hajdu is the federal minister responsible for employment, workforce development, and labor. At an event in St. John's, she announced that the Federal Skills Link program would provide choices for youth with more than $6 million. The money will help more than 400 vulnerable young people find a place to live, get an education, and find a job.
Have this really powerful myth, you know, it's a North American myth, and we see it's perpetuated through all the stories we tell and our TV and the media that we consume, and even the storybooks that we read to our children. And that myth goes something like this: if you're successful, it's because you tried really, really hard, and you can't be successful unless you try really, really hard. But also it says if you're not successful, it's because you didn't try. And we judge the people that come to life with a set of circumstances that are really not anything in their control.
Well, calling all curling fans, the Tankard, the men's provincial curling championships, they got underway today, and they did so with the most teams that the event has seen in a decade.
Wow, 12 teams are competing at the historic Ballyhaley Golf and Curling Club in St. John's. 9 teams are from St. John's, and the 3 others are from Gander, Port aux Basques, and Goose Bay.
Greg Smith's rink is the defending champ from 2018, and one reason there are so many teams this year, well, it could be because of who they don't have to play against.
The last couple of years now, as most people in Newfoundland would know, Team Guju has won the national championship, which gave them the right to go back to the national championship without having to play in the provincial playdowns. So it's given a lot of other teams locally a chance to go to the Brier. And I think that's probably why you're going to see a bit of an increase. So as long as Guju keeps winning the Brier, we'll keep putting teams in the provincial playoffs.
How sweet that would
right.
be.
Good chance to get 2. So Ballyhaley encouraging spectators, if you're in the St. John's area, to come and cheer the teams. The bar and the restaurant's open.
And draws are from 2:30 and 7:30 p.m. A winner goes to represent Newfoundland and Labrador at the Brier in Brandon, Manitoba. That's March 2nd to the 10th. Looking for oil and gas and finding a big problem.
New science says seismic testing is messing with a basic and important link in the food chain just off our waters. Find out more in just a bit.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. 5,000 kilometers of groomed trails are waiting to be explored. Embrace winter today.
Welcome back, everyone. First extensive look at the weather.
Yeah, sun popped out today.
It did. It was beautiful for most of the province today. If we take a look at the satellite and radar, you can see there's not a whole lot going on. We are starting to see some cloud cover move in for parts of the northern peninsula, and then up through Labrador, those winds will eventually ease. But here's a look at the temperatures right now. Not too bad. A little bit below seasonal, though. Still sitting at around -7 for St. John's. Towards the west coast, though, we've dipped down into the minus double digits. And we're going to see these continue as we head through the night tonight. Otherwise, up through Labrador, -24 for Lab City, and then Cartwright right now sitting at -10. So as I mentioned, those temperatures aren't going to move much, maybe a degree or two more than what we're seeing right now. But overall, not a whole lot happening tonight. Those winds generally light on the west coast, some northeast winds near 20 kilometers per hour. Going to give a little bit of a wind chill through the overnight, but not too bad. And then up through Labrador, slight chance of a few flurries. But overall, those winds not strong for the west, and then northeast 30, gusting 50 for parts of northern Labrador now, or coastal Labrador rather. The winds that are happening will ease through the night tonight. So taking a look at that future tracker, we can see just some cloud cover moving in by the time tomorrow morning rolls around. Tomorrow looks quiet as well, and then we'll start to see some snow move in for Labrador in the afternoon and then spread towards the coast by the evening hours. The next weather maker moves in late day Wednesday and then moves quite quickly through the province into Thursday. So already have a wreck house wind warning in place. Those winds will pick up tomorrow night. Gusts between 100 to 120 kilometers per hour. But overall, those temperatures are going to warm up a little bit. So -1 for tomorrow for St. John's. Towards central, sitting in the -2 degree range. Along the west coast, those temperatures sitting around -4. Now, as I mentioned, all of the snow that will move in late day. But up through Labrador, those temperatures are still going to stay quite warm. So Lab City -14 towards the coast, so minus single digit highs tomorrow. And then up through Nain's, it's going to stay windy and -9. And then Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting around -10. So taking a look at what's going to happen, this is a quick forecast here. 10 to 15 centimeters is a good bet, falling Wednesday through to Thursday morning up through Labrador. Along the coast, though, southeastern Labrador sitting around 5 to 10 centimeters, and then that could go down along the straits as well. Otherwise, for western Newfoundland, we're looking at a snow ice pellet mixture, not a whole lot, maybe 2 to 4 centimeters is possible. And then as we head towards central, that's where you get into a little bit more mixing. Nothing significant by any means, but still going to be a little bit messy, so those roads could be a little bit slick, and that will happen Wednesday night through Thursday morning. So snow, ice, pellet, freezing rain mixture, a trace, maybe 3 centimeters at the most. And then along the eastern Newfoundland and Avalon, most of that will be rain. And then with that, we could see at the onset, those temperatures still hovering around the 0 degree mark. Could see some freezing rain. That will quickly change over to rain, but not a whole lot. Maybe 2 to 5 millimeters of rain is in the forecast. So that's a look at your forecast through Thursday. We'll look a little bit ahead when I come back.
Well, it's no secret this province and the government's coffers have come to rely on oil. As you may know, oil companies, provincial politicians, and Nalcor, they certainly gushed in 2018 as they announced what they described as major finds of oil fields beneath our waters. But those finds may come at a steep environmental cost, not just for the province, but for the planet. Elizabeth May is the federal leader of the Green Party, and she's calling for an end to seismic testing off our coast. Elizabeth May, welcome to Here and Now.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
So what are your concerns about seismic testing? What exactly is it and what worries you?
I've had concerns about seismic testing for a long time, way before I was in a political party, because as someone living in Cape Breton working with the local fishers on the issue of trying to protect snow crab and other stocks in the Gulf of St. Lawrence for seismic testing, and those working very hard to protect our whales, it became clear that seismic testing is unacknowledged in the extent of the risk it poses to the fisheries, to whales. But recently, and I guess why we're talking right now, was discovering that the Department of Fisheries and Oceans off the coast of Newfoundland and Labrador is seeing an alarming decline in plankton. And at least some scientists are linking that to the seismic testing.
Now, as far as plankton goes, I think most of us who studied science, we know that plankton is kind of the, well, basically the block of life on Earth. So it seems like a silly question, I suppose, obvious, but why does this destruction of plankton matter all of a sudden?
Well, of course, and I want to be clear about it. I think it's very, a lot of the fishermen, a lot of the scientists do see a connection between the seismic testing and the decline in the plankton. Some would say the jury's still out, but I was surprised years ago to discover that scientists were linking a decline in cod population and regeneration of cod, the effect of seismic testing. Cod are sensitive to noise. What we're now realizing is that plankton may be as well, and the dramatic decline in plankton is a threat, obviously, to the fishery coastal to Newfoundland and Labrador. But if this is widespread, we certainly will see it. The oceans are in great peril from many things.
Right.
This is just, you know, one too many, and we ought to be paying a lot more attention to the damage done by seismic testing.
And when you say the dramatic decline, we're talking about 50% compared to a generation ago?
Yeah, and this is federal science data. So there's no doubt that the Federal Department of Fisheries and Oceans is seeing a dramatic decline in plankton, phytoplankton. A number of scientists are seeing a link that is connected to the seismic testing.
Right.
They've tested and found that plankton are sensitive to noise. I mean, bear in mind, these air guns are almost constant over months. And so, you know, I'm sure you've seen the quotes from fishermen in Newfoundland and Labrador saying every time you take a boat through an area that's just had seismic testing, you don't find fish. But the connection to driving down the plankton, which is, as you say, it's the basis of the food chain. If you're knocking out the basis of the food chain to any significant extent, you've got to stop that behavior.
One quick final question for you. As you know, we're the province with the highest unemployment rate. The province is basically addicted to oil revenues and the jobs it creates. Is it realistic to call for the end of seismic testing, really, in a place like Newfoundland and Labrador?
On a place called planet Earth, it's imperative we start calling for the end of fossil fuels. We set a date, we work to meet that date, and we ensure a just transition, not anything like the TAGS program that was doled out to Newfoundland fishers when they closed put the moratorium on the cod stocks. We need real transition. We need to embrace those technologies that advance Newfoundland and Labrador without threatening our fisheries, without threatening our future. Things like wind power, things like sustainable energy sources, and of course, we all love visiting Newfoundland and Labrador on our holidays. There's lots of jobs we have to find and create in a new economy.
And no doubt you'll be visiting during the election campaign. Elizabeth May, good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Mammograms are a common part of women's preventative health care, but a new report says it's time to rethink their value. Next. A recent report by the Canadian Task Force on Preventative Healthcare says regular mammograms can cause harm. Seems incredible after the breast cancer screening test has been promoted for decades for all women over 50 for early detection of cancer. But this new report comes as no surprise to Anne Carney, a professor at MUN's Faculty of Nursing. Once a big supporter of this mass screening test, she's changed her mind. And Anne Carney joins me now. Thank you very much for being here. Pleasure. And you were instrumental more than 20 years ago in setting up our province's breast screening service here. And what's changed?
Well, I was responsible for public and professional education, and in that I was responsible for looking at the evidence. And I began to see conflicting evidence as early as the late 90s about mammography, clinical breast exam, and breast self-exam. And I began to question the effectiveness of mammography screenings, population-based, meaning all women of a particular age group being screened on a regular basis. So the evidence was starting to emerge then that the evidence was not as strong as it once was, that it was effective. And that has come to pass now. It's been almost 30 years later. The trials have matured. The evidence is longer out, and we now know that there is no overall reduction in death with breast cancer with population-based mammography screening.
That is going to come as a shock to many women because women have been told consistently that mammography saves lives. You're saying it doesn't?
The evidence is now clear that mammography does not reduce the overall mortality rate of women. Now, we're not talking about women who are at higher risk or have an abnormality in their breasts. We're talking about well women going for regular screening on a regular basis because they're between the ages of 50 to 74. That's not working.
Well, let's talk about some of the risks that have been connected now with mammography. What are they?
Well, the most important, most serious risk is called overdiagnosis. It's when a woman gets diagnosed with a breast cancer, and I put that in quotes, that never would have become detectable or caused harm to her in any way throughout her lifetime. All women who are overdiagnosed receive unnecessary treatment. And those are the regular cancer treatments: surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy. And we know that cancer treatments can also cause death. So that's the most serious harm. But there's also false positives when women are sent for extra tests. They end up with biopsies and other procedures. There is risks with radiation. There are radiation-induced breast cancers and deaths. Some women experience significant anxiety for many years after screening.
What is the risk, though, of not being screened?
Every woman, what the task force said, they're still recommending screening for women 50 to 74 every 2 to 3 years. But the big change now is they want women to become more informed about the harms, the potential harms of mammography screening. And if in their evaluation of the information, the benefits for them outweigh the risks, then they recommend screening. But it's a qualified recommendation, and I think that's very important for women's health, because the previous recommendation was all women of this age group should be screened.
What about the value of self-breast examination or having your GP do a regular examination of your breast?
I think that all women should know how their breasts normally feel and should, in fact, examine their breasts. I think primary care providers should examine women's breasts, and I don't think we should be screening well women's breasts on a regular basis.
And this has got to be controversial. I mean, you've got people who bought into the messaging of having a mammogram. You've got expensive screening programs set up. You've got doctors who are of a certain mindset. I mean, how hard will it be to make a shift in policy?
It's going to take governments concerted action across Canada, and I would even recommend in the Western world where organized breast screening, mammography screening programs are offered, to really start discussing how to work together to end those programs.
Thank you very much. There's a lot to this conversation, but thank you for sharing your thoughts on this with us. And Carney, thank you.
Pleasure, Debbie. Thank you for having me.
Being able to recognize my children, my wife, all my life, this is the main thing for me.
A life forever changed.
Today, a victim of the Quebec City Mosque shooting is giving back. His story ahead. Welcome back to Here and Now. As you heard earlier in Zach Gowdy's report, vigils are being held in communities across Canada tonight to honor the victims of the mass shooting at a Quebec City mosque 2 years ago. 6 men died and 19 were wounded when a young man opened fire on worshippers as evening prayers were ending. The gunman, Alexandre Bissonnette, has pleaded guilty to 6 counts of first-degree murder and 6 counts of attempted murder. He will be sentenced on February 8th and faces as many as 150 years in prison. A memorial at the mosque includes photos of the men who died and a book of condolences, somber reminders of the violence.
Now, one of the people whose lives was changed on that day was Eamon Derbali, who was riddled with bullets. He was paralyzed from the neck down, and he spent 2 months in a coma, and that was followed by 18 months in rehabilitation. Now, Derbali and his family are living in a house that's been adapted to his needs, and that was paid for through a fundraising campaign. And now Derbali is showing his gratitude by giving back. The CBC's Julia Page has his story.
Eamon Derbali says he started a new life the day he moved home on August 3rd. After being apart for more than a year, he now wakes up every morning with his wife and their 3 children.
To have a normal life, like before the tragedy.
The night of the shooting, Derbali nearly went home but decided to make a quick stop at the mosque in Sainte-Foy. He told his wife he'd be back in time to put their eldest son to bed. He spent the next 2 months in a coma, a frightening experience for the 8-year-old who firmly believed his father had died.
So when he saw me back at my home, he was very, very happy. I can do some activities with him, especially watching TV. In the summer, I can go out, so I can see him playing soccer in the field outside.
Dorbally has now started applying for jobs and hopes to start working part-time. His daily routine is still grueling. He needs 3 hours of home care every day, and the bullets that exploded inside his body are a source of constant pain. Nonetheless, he says he is getting stronger, and he is thankful his mind has fully recovered, something the doctors didn't think was possible.
Being able to recognize my children, my wife, all my life, this is the main thing for me.
The 42-year-old says he now wants to thank those who helped his family purchase their home by giving back to others.
This solidarity is encouraged me to be more positive and to think that this is the beautiful thing.
Dorbally has started giving conferences in high schools to reach out to youth. The key, he says, to discourage intolerance.
To spread this message of peace and this message of collaboration, and to warn them, in addition to warn them regarding this, the crime hates.
Only days after this second anniversary, on February 8th, Dorbally will find out what sentence awaits the young man he crossed paths with that night.
After that, we have to turn the page and we have to forget about the past, and we have to see the future.
Julia Page, CBC News, Quebec City.
In a Toronto courtroom today, Bruce McArthur pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in the deaths of 8 men, all of them members of the gay community in Toronto who vanished between 2010 and 2017. The CBC's Ron Charles has more, and a warning: Ron's report is graphic and disturbing.
Standing in a courtroom packed with his victims' friends and families, Bruce McArthur responded guilty 8 times as a clerk read out each of the first-degree murder charges. The agreed statement of facts in the case reveals some of what police found in the weeks-long search of McArthur's apartment, including a duffel bag containing duct tape, a surgical glove, rope, zip ties, and syringes. The statement says several of the murders were sexual in nature, involving ligature and bindings. McArthur posed some of his victims' bodies before dismembering them and placing the remains in planters and a ravine at the home of his landscaping client, Karen Fraser, and her husband.
Just thinking about the last moments of those men, it comes to me quite often, particularly the 2 that I met very briefly, but I did meet 2 of them, and if I'm haunted by that.
Most of McArthur's victims were of Middle Eastern or South Asian origin. LGBT advocates from those communities welcomed the guilty pleas.
It's actually quite relieving, I think, because we have an answer now, and he's pled guilty, and I think that puts the community and the family at rest, to say that we have closure now, finally.
But Toronto's LGBT community still has questions about how a serial killer was able to prey on men in the city's gay village for so long.
Now, the current police officers, Hank and Singer, for example, incredibly professional and have done an amazing job. But why does it take over a decade to catch somebody who was repetitive in his patterns?
Authorities are looking into the way police handled the cases and those of other missing persons.
If there were mistakes made, we should learn from them and see what those mistakes were, ready to move forward.
McArthur returns to court next Monday for victim impact statements and sentencing. The judge will have to decide whether he serves his 8 life sentences concurrently or consecutively. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
The two young railway fanatics doing their bit to keep Newfoundland railway history alive. Sunday at noon and Monday at 7.
This weather update is brought to you by Beltone, helping the world hear better.
So I was excited to find out that you guys launched something new while I was away.
We did.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The Weather Whiz Kid Club. So we have another official member. If you want to take a look at that, it's Lily Tucker. So she is our next member, and she's 5 years old, from the town of Paradise. Sent us this photo. She kind of explained it. So there was a couple people skating, someone building a snowman, a snow angel, and then there's a little bird tucked away in that tree there.
Well, that's a lot of fun. Nicely done, Lily.
Great drawing there. Thank you so much for sending that in. If you,
There's
this
Lily.
is her. Yeah, this is Lily.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so you'll be getting a postcard in the mail shortly for your official
And
membership.
look at that figure skating ornament.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Good eyes.
So if you have any drawings that you would like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca. Send us your name, your address, and the town that you're in, and we'll try and get it on there for you.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. How about the weather?
Well, looking towards Thursday, we're going to see that little bit of a mess roll through overnight, and then through the day on Thursday, it actually looks like things should clear out. So taking a look at the future tracker, you can see all of that moving out by morning, and then in behind that, we could potentially see that some snow move in the evening hours along the west coast, and then a little bit more through the rest of the island, and then up through Labrador, though it does look like it'll stay nice into the evening hours on Thursday. But we do get into that onshore flow, which means it looks a little bit more like we'll see some snow squall activity. So here's a look at the forecast. Those temperatures staying above 0 for eastern Newfoundland and the Avalon, so that potential for a few afternoon, or rather morning showers. And then otherwise dropping down to the -3 for Corner Brook, and then up through Labrador, -16 for Lab City. And then towards the coast, again, staying warm, and then at -3, but then we're also looking at that potential for some blowing snow up through Nain at that same temperature, -3. So I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a lot of talk of this cold air sitting over Ontario. Right now, we're not in the thick of it, but if we take a look at it, that's what's moving our way as we head towards the weekend, that coldest air moving over Labrador. But because we're getting into that southwesterly, or rather westerly flow, that means the west coast is looking at a little bit of snow. And by a little bit, I mean a couple of days of snow right through the weekend. And that looks like that will stick around. So definitely gray through Friday afternoon with those snow squalls potentially. And then into Saturday as well. It's not moving very much as we start to get into the coldest air. And then up through Labrador, though, you'll just see those cold temperatures, not so much in the way of snow. It doesn't look like things will really clear out for some of the province by the time Sunday rolls around, but still sticking with those snowy conditions right through the west coast. So here's a look at the 5-day forecast. Freezing rain potentially late day tomorrow night for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. That will quickly change over to rain by the early morning hours as that temperature climbs up above 0 and stays above 0 through Thursday, with that potential for a few showers. And then into Friday and Saturday and Sunday, you can see those temperatures dip back down as we get into some of that colder air, the minus single digits, and that potential for some flurries as well. For central Newfoundland, it'll be a little bit messy late day into Thursday, so that potential for some snow, ice pelts, freezing rain, not a whole lot as far as accumulation goes, but still a little bit messy. Thursday stays that potential for a few flurries in the morning, and then same thing for Friday, and temperatures dipping down to about -10. Now for western Newfoundland, as I said, still going to be gray. It looks windy as well as we see that potential for snow squalls right through Sunday, and temperatures overnight dipping down into the minus double digits. And then up through Labrador tomorrow, about 10 to 15 centimeters is possible. Some blowing snow late day as those winds pick up. Otherwise, through the weekend, it looks like sunshine, but chilly. And that's the same thing for western Labrador. A good 10 to 15 centimeters in the forecast with some blowing snow. And by the weekend, that sunshine returns. So let's look at your extended forecast. So look at your weather photo when I come back. Deb?
Thank you, Ashley. It's been another emotional day inside a makeshift courtroom in Melfort, Saskatchewan. Family and friends of the victims of the Humboldt Broncos bus crash continue to give impact statements at the sentencing hearing of Jaskirat Singh Sidhu. Billet dad Paul Jefferson spoke of his grief and loss, but he also asked the court not to ruin Sidhu's life.
You know, justice is important, but mercy is important too. And so my request that the court consider that his life not be ruined forever by this one terrible, terrible mistake.
Sidhu pleaded guilty to 29 counts of dangerous driving. 16 people were killed in the accident and 13 were injured. A provincial report filed during the hearing says Sidhu should not have been on the road. It notes 51 previous violations of federal trucking regulations. The maximum sentence for dangerous driving causing death is 14 years in prison on each count.
Now to Washington, former Donald Trump advisor Roger Stone pleaded not guilty to 7 charges laid by Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Those charges include witness tampering, obstruction, and making false statements. There was a noisy crowd outside the courthouse as Stone arrived, supporters and critics. He told reporters the charges will not stand up in court. Much of that case against him involves his alleged connection to WikiLeaks and the release of emails about Hillary Clinton that could have helped Donald Trump's election campaign.
Here's a look of another beautiful weather photo for the day today.
That's very nice.
Lovely.
No idea where that's from?
No.
I know they're hard when they're sunset pictures when there's no frame of reference.
It's happening above the salt water.
That's
somewhere.
Certainly true. That definitely is the ocean. Yeah. I'll tell you where this photo is taken when we come back.
"14 years ago, I had a brain aneurysm, and within a week, I had a stroke.
We're checking back in with people who have overcome some major life challenges.
At the age of 36, I had to get better.
This is My Story, a new series with segments every 2 weeks on Here and Now.
This is my story.
Debbie Maloney, coming up on January 30th.
Okay, Debbie, you've traveled a lot across this country. What do you think the most notorious city in Canada is? What would you say?
You're killing me. I'm not going to answer that.
Well, the answer surprised me. It's Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It calls itself the most notorious city because Moose Jaw allegedly has a past that was basically a party town in the 1920s. Now there's a major tourist attraction in the city, these mysterious tunnels you see there, allegedly used by gangsters like Al Capone when they needed to hide out.
So Moose Jaw was also a base for shipping booze south to Chicago during the U.S. Prohibition. It all sounds a lot more exciting, Anthony, than Moose Jaw's former slogan, which was being a friendly town.
Friendly town. This has gone from friendly to notorious. Well, there you go. I guess notorious sells better than friendly.
I think it must.
Besides, Friendly Manitoba next door is probably suing them for copyright, so there you go.
Where you promoted our weather picture before the break.
It's a gorgeous shot. I have no clue.
No, really.
No idea where that is. It's actually Cape Bonavista.
Oh.
That's too easy.
No, it isn't.
It's
You
so
didn't
obvious.
get it.
I know, that's true.
That means it's not very easy. Yeah, a beautiful Sunday sunset walk out Cape Bonavista. So Alyssa captured that beautiful photo there.
Pretty one. Thank you, Alyssa.
There's been some nice ones this last couple of days. Thank you to everyone who has sent us photos, and send more because we love seeing them. nlphotos@cbc.ca.
That's it for us.
That is it.
This is a great day, and I hope you have a great night. See you back here tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.